Welcome back to my YouTube channel, The Coin Jackpot. Today, we are going to show you 5 1951 dimes whose value is more than $712,000, and the reason is their minting errors. The U.S. government is going to ban them in the coming time, and collectors are crazy about finding them. The reason is their minting errors and their value. Check your old jars and your cabinets. If you have these coins, you may be able to get their real value. So, let's find out which minting errors make these coins so rare. Let's start the video. Inside the Denver Mint, the production line never pauses for long. Massive coils of metal feed into automated equipment, while inspection stations monitor every stage with remarkable precision. Every movement is measured, every tolerance is controlled, and every striking press operates under immense pressure, producing thousands of dimes each hour. The objective is absolute consistency, yet the smallest mechanical variation can permanently alter a coin and transform an ordinary 10-cent piece into an object pursued by collectors for decades. Some exceptional examples associated with the 1981 D dime have achieved remarkable auction results, with reported prices reaching as high as $155,000 when extraordinary rarity condition and collector demand converge. The manufacturing process begins with long strips of clad metal produced to exact specifications. Each strip consists of a copper core bonded between outer layers of copper-nickel alloy before entering production. The material is inspected for thickness, hardness, and surface quality because any defect at this stage may affect every step that follows. Once approved, the strips move toward blanking presses where hardened punches cut perfectly round, discs known as planchets. Thousands of blanks are created every hour with incredible speed. If alignment shifts during punching, a clipped planchet can result, leaving part of the blank missing before the coin has even received its design. These clipped planchets occasionally escape quality control and become highly collectible because they preserve direct evidence of the first production stage. The newly created blanks continue into annealing furnaces where carefully controlled heat softens the metal. Without this process, the planchets would resist the pressure of the striking dies, producing incomplete details. After heating the blanks, cool gradually before entering cleaning systems that remove oxidation oils and manufacturing residue. Clean metal surfaces are essential because contamination remaining on the planchet may contribute to unusual struck through errors during striking if grease fibers or foreign material become trapped between die and metal. Next, each blank passes through the upsetting mill. This operation compresses the outer edge, creating a raised rim that strengthens the planchet and prepares it for striking. Proper rim formation helps direct metal into every recess of the dies. If upsetting pressure varies, irregular rims or incomplete borders may appear. Although uncommon, these pieces provide important clues about early production irregularities inside the mint. Now the planchets reach the heart of the manufacturing process. High-speed coining presses strike every blank with tremendous force, lasting only fractions of a second. Hardened dies carrying the dime design transfer every detail into the softened metal. Under ideal conditions, each strike produces a nearly identical coin. Yet because these presses operate continuously under enormous stress, mechanical imperfections sometimes develop, creating the mint errors collectors value today. Among the most desirable are doubled die varieties. Unlike damage occurring after circulation, this error originates during die creation. Slight alignment differences while manufacturing the working die leave doubled design elements that appear on every coin struck from that die. Specialists examine lettering numbers and fine details, searching for genuine hub doubling strong examples command significant premiums because they represent authentic production varieties rather than accidental damage. Die crack errors develop after prolonged use of the working dies. Every strike transfers enormous pressure into hardened steel. Eventually, microscopic fractures appear and gradually expand. These cracks transfer onto coins as raised lines crossing portraits, lettering, or other design elements. Early cracks may carry modest value while larger. Dramatic examples often attract serious collector attention because they document the progressive wear of mint equipment before replacement. Off-center strikes occur when a planchet enters the striking chamber improperly positioned. Instead of receiving a centered impression, only part of the design transfers onto the coin, while the remaining area stays blank. The farther the strike shifts while preserving important identifying features, the greater the collector interest. Dramatic off. Center examples remain among the most visually impressive mint errors. Broad strike errors result from collar malfunction. During normal production, the collar surrounds the planchet, controlling diameter and edge formation. If the collar fails to engage properly, the metal expands farther than intended, creating a coin with unusual proportions, lacking its standard edge profile. These pieces provide direct evidence of mechanical problems occurring inside the striking press. Struck through. Errors appear when foreign material enters the striking chamber. Grease fragments, cloth fibers, metallic particles, or other debris block portions of the design from transferring completely. The finished coin may display missing details, unusual impressions, or distorted textures. Every struck-through error is different, making each surviving example effectively unique. Die chips and retained cuds also attract considerable attention. Small fragments occasionally separate from working dies, producing raised metal lumps on finished coins. Larger retained cuds develop when substantial portions of the die fracture, but remain attached, creating dramatic raised areas on struck coins. These advanced die failures remain highly desirable because production usually stops quickly after such damage develops. Another unusual production error involves multiple strikes. If a coin fails to eject properly, it may receive additional impressions before leaving the striking chamber. The resulting overlapping designs create some of the most spectacular error coins encountered by collectors, although genuine examples remain scarce. Regarding the phrase green dime sometimes encountered online, it is important to understand that the United States Mint did not intentionally produce a special green-colored 1981 D dime. Genuine 1981 D dimes have the normal clad appearance. A green surface is generally caused by environmental exposure, chemical reactions, corrosion, residue, or post-mint alteration, rather than an official mint variety. Collectors usually focus on authentic mint errors rather than discoloration, unless professional examination identifies an unusual and legitimate production-related cause. Historically, the 1981 dime represents a period when modern minting technology emphasized speed, efficiency, and consistency. American commerce relied heavily on circulating coinage, and production facilities operated continuously to meet nationwide demand. Although the design itself remained familiar, improvements in manufacturing equipment and quality control reflected the technological progress occurring inside United States mint facilities during the early 1980s. Collector value depends upon several important factors. Ordinary. Circulated 1981 D dimes without recognized varieties generally remain worth face value. Attractive uncirculated examples retaining original mint luster often command modest premiums. Certified high-grade coins become much scarcer because very few survive with exceptional surface preservation, strike quality, and eye appeal. Error coins exist within a completely different market. Minor die cracks, die chips, or struck-through examples often sell for modest premiums. Strong, doubled, dies clipped. Planchets, broad strikes off center strikes, retained cuds, and multiple strike errors frequently reach hundreds or several $1,000s, depending upon rarity, certification, visibility, and overall condition. When a major production error appears, on an elite mint state example, collector competition increases dramatically. The reported figure of $155,000 represents the highest level of the numismatic marketplace, where extraordinary rarity, outstanding preservation, exceptional demand, and remarkable production characteristics combine. Such prices apply only to truly exceptional coins, rather than ordinary circulation pieces, yet they demonstrate the remarkable potential hidden within modern coin collecting. Every authentic 1981 D-dime, therefore, tells two stories. The first reflects the precision engineering and industrial expertise required to manufacture millions of nearly identical coins. The second reminds collectors that even the most advanced production systems occasionally produce unexpected results. Those rare mechanical moments preserved forever in metal continue inspiring specialists to examine old collections, dealer inventories, bank rolls, and forgotten coin jars, because the next extraordinary discovery may still be waiting where nobody has thought to look. Inside the United States Mint, the entire operation depends on timing measured in fractions of a second. Giant coils of metal move toward blanking presses. Automated conveyors carry thousands of unfinished planchets through specialized equipment. And high-speed coining presses deliver enormous striking pressure without interruption. Every stage is monitored because a single mechanical variation can affect hundreds or even thousands of coins before technicians detect the problem. Most dimes leave the production floor exactly as intended, yet the smallest manufacturing irregularity can create a collectible rarity capable of attracting extraordinary attention from numismatists, with exceptional examples associated with the 1975 dime, reaching reported values as high as $141,000 when remarkable rarity, outstanding preservation, and intense collector demand come together. The manufacturing journey begins with long strips of clad metal consisting of a pure copper core permanently bonded between outer layers of copper-nickel alloy. Before entering production, every strip undergoes careful inspection for hardness, thickness, bonding quality, and surface consistency, because even microscopic flaws may influence the striking process. Once approved, the metal enters blanking presses where hardened steel punches remove perfectly round discs known as planchets. Thousands of blanks are produced every hour with extraordinary precision, yet if alignment shifts during punching, the edge of the strip may overlap the punch, creating a clipped planchet. These unusual blanks continue through production and become instantly recognizable collectible errors because a portion of the finished coin is missing. Before striking even begins, fresh planchets continue into annealing furnaces where controlled heat softens the metal, allowing it to flow efficiently into every detail of the striking dies. Without proper annealing, the alloy would resist deformation, producing weak lettering, incomplete portraits, and poor overall definition. After heating the planchets, cool under controlled conditions, before entering chemical cleaning systems designed to remove oxidation lubricants and manufacturing residue. Surface cleanliness becomes critically important because remaining contamination can later produce struck-through errors if debris becomes trapped between die and planchet during striking. Following cleaning, every planchet enters an upsetting mill. This operation compresses the outer edge, creating a raised rim that strengthens the blank while directing metal toward the engraved portions of the dies. During striking, uniform rim formation ensures balanced metal flow throughout the design. If upsetting pressure varies, incomplete rims, distorted borders, or irregular edges may result, providing specialists with valuable evidence of production irregularities occurring before the actual strike. The prepared planchets now reach the coining presses where transformation into finished dimes takes place. Hardened steel dies carrying the obverse and reverse designs strike each blank with tremendous force, lasting only milliseconds. Every press must synchronize feeding alignment pressure and ejection perfectly because the production rate allows little room for error. Despite advanced engineering, the continuous stress gradually wears equipment, creating opportunities for valuable mint errors. One of the most respected production varieties involves doubled dies. This error develops during die creation rather than during striking. Slight hub misalignment while producing the working die permanently engraves double details into the die itself. Every coin struck from that die repeats the same characteristics. Collectors inspect dates, lettering, facial features, and other design elements under magnification, searching for unmistakable examples, because genuine doubled dies represent authentic manufacturing varieties instead of post-mint damage. Another important category is die crack errors. Every strike transfers tremendous force into hardened steel, causing gradual fatigue. Microscopic fractures eventually appear and expand with continued production. These cracks transfer onto struck coins as raised lines crossing portraits, lettering, or other design elements. Small die cracks remain affordable, while dramatic examples extending across major portions of the design command much stronger collector interest, because they document advanced die deterioration before replacement. Off-center strikes occur when planchets enter the striking chamber improperly aligned. Instead of receiving a centered impression, only part of the design transfers onto the coin while the remaining area remains blank. The farther the displacement, while preserving important identifying features, the more desirable the error becomes. Collectors especially appreciate examples retaining a complete visible date because authenticity and dramatic appearance combine in a single piece. Broad strike errors develop when the retaining collar surrounding the planchet fails to engage correctly. During normal production, the collar controls diameter while forming the edge. Without proper restraint, the metal expands farther than intended, creating a wider coin lacking standard edge characteristics. These unusual pieces provide direct physical evidence of mechanical malfunction within the striking press. Struck-through errors originate when foreign material enters the striking chamber. Grease cloth fibers, tiny metal fragments, or other debris prevent portions of the engraved design from transferring completely onto the coin. The resulting impressions vary enormously, making every struck-through example unique. Some display missing details, while others exhibit unusual recessed textures impossible to reproduce intentionally. Die chips and retained cuds represent later stages of die wear. Small fragments occasionally separate from working dies, producing raised metal lumps on finished coins. Larger retained cuds occur when more substantial portions fracture while remaining partially attached, creating dramatic raised formations. These advanced die failures remain highly collectible because they illustrate severe tooling fatigue immediately before maintenance personnel remove the damaged die from service. Another fascinating production anomaly involves multiple strikes. If a coin fails to eject properly after its initial strike, it may remain inside the press long enough to receive additional impressions, creating overlapping designs, distorted portraits, and dramatic visual effects. Genuine multiple strike dimes remain scarce because modern production equipment normally ejects coins efficiently before another striking cycle begins. The 1975 dime belongs to an era when the United States Mint emphasized increasing automation while maintaining exceptional production quality. The nation required enormous quantities of circulating coinage, and manufacturing facilities relied upon sophisticated machinery operating continuously to meet demand. Although the design remained familiar, technological improvements inside the mint steadily enhanced production, efficiency, and consistency. Today, the majority of surviving 1975 dimes show evidence of everyday circulation. Years of handling contact with other coins and commercial use gradually reduced surface quality, leaving relatively few examples with original mint brilliance intact. This natural attrition explains why exceptional uncirculated survivors have become increasingly desirable among advanced collectors. Professional grading now plays a central role in determining market value. Independent grading. Services evaluate strike sharpness, luster, contact marks, surface, preservation, originality, and overall eye appeal, assigning numerical grades recognized throughout the numismatic community. Even slight grading differences can dramatically influence final auction results because higher grade populations become increasingly limited. Ordinary circulated 1975 dimes without recognized varieties generally remain worth face value. Attractive uncirculated examples preserving fresh mint surfaces often command modest premiums, depending upon overall quality. Certified high-grade pieces become significantly more valuable because very few survive with elite preservation standards. Error coins exist within a completely separate market. Minor die cracks, die chips, or struck-through examples often sell for moderate premiums. Strong doubled, dies-clipped planchets, broad strikes off center strikes, retained cuds, and multiple strike errors frequently command hundreds or several $1,000s, depending upon rarity, certification, visibility, and eye appeal. Exceptional combinations featuring dramatic production errors together with elite mint state preservation consistently generate the strongest competition among collectors. The reported figure of $141,000 represents the highest level of collector demand, where extraordinary rarity, exceptional preservation, remarkable production, characteristics, and determined bidding converge. Such prices belong only to truly outstanding examples rather than ordinary circulation coins, yet they demonstrate the remarkable potential hidden within modern coinage. Every authentic 1975 dime, therefore, preserves far more than its monetary denomination. It records the precision of industrial engineering, the complexity of high-speed coin production, the gradual wear of manufacturing equipment, and the unpredictable reality that even the most advanced systems occasionally create extraordinary collectibles. Those rare moments, frozen forever in metal, continue motivating collectors to search through old collections, forgotten bankrolls, inherited coin jars, and dealer inventories, because another remarkable discovery may still be waiting unnoticed, ready to transform an ordinary 10-cent coin into an unforgettable numismatic treasure. The winter of 1941 changed the destiny of the United States forever. After the attack on Pearl Harbor, millions of Americans entered military service while factories transformed into engines of wartime production. The nation demanded symbols capable of inspiring confidence, determination, and unity. During this period, President Franklin Delano Roosevelt became the central figure guiding the country through economic hardship and global conflict. Beyond his leadership, he championed the fight against polio by encouraging public support for the organization that later became known as the March of Dimes. That nationwide campaign funded medical research and gave hope to countless families. Because of Roosevelt's connection to the March of Dimes, the United States chose to honor him after his death by placing his portrait on the 10-cent coin, creating one of the most meaningful designs in American numismatic history. By the time the 1990 D-dime entered circulation, that design had already represented courage, resilience, and national service for decades, while exceptional examples eventually attracted reported values reaching as high as $132,000. The decision to feature Roosevelt on the dime was not based only on his presidency. It reflected the enormous impact he had on ordinary American lives. The March of Dimes encouraged millions of citizens to contribute small donations, proving that even the smallest amount of money could support medical breakthroughs. That simple idea transformed the dime into more than everyday change. It became a reminder that small contributions collected across an entire nation could accomplish extraordinary goals. This deeper meaning continues, making the Roosevelt dime one of the most historically significant modern American coins. The reverse design strengthened that message by displaying symbols representing liberty, strength, and peace. Together, these elements created a balanced tribute, recognizing both national ideals and Roosevelt's lasting influence. Instead of celebrating military victories or personal achievements alone, the design honored service, perseverance, and hope, making the dime one of the most symbolic circulating coins ever produced. When the 1990 D. Roosevelt dime entered circulation, few people imagined that certain examples would later become valuable collector pieces. Millions passed through stores, banks, restaurants, and vending machines becoming part of everyday commerce. Yet hidden among these ordinary coins were rare manufacturing mistakes capable of transforming common pocket change into highly desirable numismatic treasures. One of the most respected production varieties involves doubled dies. Unlike damage occurring after circulation, this variety begins during the preparation of the working die. Slight alignment differences, while transferring the design, create doubled letters, numbers, or design details. Every coin struck from that die carries the same characteristics, making authentic doubled die examples especially attractive to specialists. Strong examples often command hundreds or several $1,000s, depending upon visibility, condition, and certification. Another dramatic category involves off-center strikes. During production, a planchet occasionally enters the striking chamber incorrectly positioned. Instead of receiving a perfectly centered design, only part of the image transfers onto the coin, leaving a blank crescent around one edge. The farther the design shifts, while preserving the date, the stronger collector demand becomes because the error remains both dramatic and easily identifiable. Die crack varieties provide another fascinating window into the manufacturing process. Every working die experiences tremendous stress after striking hundreds of thousands of coins. Eventually, microscopic fractures develop within the hardened steel, transferring raised lines onto finished dimes. Early stage. Cracks remain subtle, while advanced examples extend across Roosevelt's portrait lettering or the reverse design. Collectors appreciate these progressive die states because they document the gradual aging of mint equipment before replacement struck. Through errors also remain highly desirable. Foreign material such as grease cloth, fibers, or tiny metallic fragments occasionally enters the striking chamber, preventing portions of the design from forming completely. The finished coin displays unusual missing details, distorted textures, or recessed impressions. Every struck-through error differs, making each surviving example effectively unique within the series. Clipped planchet errors originate before striking begins. During blank production, circular punches remove planchets from long strips of clad metal. If the punch overlaps, the strip edge part of the blank is missing before reaching the coining press. Once struck, the finished dime displays a curved clip immediately recognizable, even without magnification. Because these errors originate early in production, collectors value them as physical evidence of manufacturing irregularities. Broad strike errors develop when the retaining collar surrounding the planchet fails during striking. Without proper restraint, the metal expands farther than intended, creating a wider coin lacking its standard edge profile. These unusual pieces remain popular because they provide unmistakable evidence of mechanical malfunction inside the striking press. Another category attracting serious attention involves die chips and retained cuds. Small fragments occasionally separate from working dies, producing raised metal lumps on finished coins. Larger retained cuds occur when more substantial portions fracture while remaining partially attached, creating dramatic raised formations. These advanced die failures are especially collectible because production usually stops quickly after such damage appears. Although mint errors generate excitement, preservation ultimately determines market value. The overwhelming majority of 1990 D-dimes experienced years of circulation, accumulating scratches, contact marks, worn surfaces, and diminished luster, truly pristine survivors retaining. Full original brilliance have become much scarcer than many people expect. Professional grading services evaluate every coin according to strike sharpness, luster, eye appeal, surface preservation, and originality. Higher certified grades dramatically reduce surviving populations, creating stronger competition among advanced collectors. assembling top registry sets. Even a 1-point grading difference can represent a substantial increase in market value. Typical circulated 1990 D dimes without. Recognized varieties generally remain worth face value. Attractive, uncirculated examples preserving fresh mint surfaces often command modest premiums. Certified high-grade pieces become significantly more valuable because relatively few survive. With exceptional preservation, error coins create an entirely separate market. Minor die cracks or small struck through examples often sell for moderate premiums. Strong doubled dies, clipped planchets, broad strikes, dramatic off-center strikes retained. Cuds and multiple production anomalies frequently reach hundreds or several $1,000s, depending upon rarity certification and overall eye appeal. The reported figure of $132,000 represents the highest level of collector demand, where extraordinary rarity, remarkable preservation, exceptional visual quality, and intense bidding competition converge. Such prices belong only to truly elite examples rather than ordinary circulation coins, yet they demonstrate the extraordinary potential hidden within a seemingly common modern dime. The enduring fascination surrounding the 1990 D. Roosevelt dime comes from the combination of historical meaning, manufacturing precision, and the constant possibility of discovering something extraordinary. Every surviving coin connects directly to the legacy of Franklin Roosevelt and the movement that encouraged millions of Americans to fight disease through small contributions. At the same time, every example offers collectors the chance to uncover a rare production anomaly preserved by chance for decades. That unique combination of history, craftsmanship, rarity, and market demand ensures the 1990 D dime continues attracting attention from collectors who understand that remarkable discoveries are often hidden inside the most ordinary-looking coins, waiting patiently for someone observant enough to recognize their true significance. Inside the United States Mint, the sound is relentless. Massive presses cycle with perfect rhythm, conveyor systems move thousands of planchets every hour, and technicians monitor precision instruments designed to measure differences too small for the human eye to notice. Every modern dime begins its life inside this tightly controlled environment where consistency is the goal. Yet tiny mechanical failures occasionally escape detection. Those rare moments create the production mistakes that collectors spend years searching for, and they explain why certain exceptional 1978 dimes have attracted remarkable attention, with reported values reaching as high as $131,000, when rarity, preservation, and collector demand come together. The manufacturing process starts with large coils of clad metal produced under strict metallurgical standards. Each strip contains a pure copper core bonded between outer layers of copper-nickel alloy. Before entering production, every coil is inspected for thickness, hardness, and surface quality because even slight variations could affect the striking process. Once approved, the metal moves into high-speed blanking presses where hardened steel punches remove perfectly round discs known as planchets. This operation appears simple, but it requires extraordinary precision. If the punch overlaps the edge of the strip instead of remaining perfectly centered, a clipped planchet is created, leaving part of the future coin missing. Before the design is even struck, these genuine clipped planchet errors remain among the most recognizable and collectible production mistakes. Freshly punched planchets then travel into annealing furnaces where carefully controlled temperatures soften the metal. This treatment allows the alloy to flow properly into every detail of the dies during striking. Without annealing, the finished coins would display weak details and incomplete designs. After heating, the planchets cool gradually before entering specialized cleaning systems that remove oxidation lubricants and manufacturing residue. Any contamination surviving this process may later contribute to struck-through errors if foreign material becomes trapped between the die and the planchet during striking. Once cleaned, the planchets enter upsetting mills. Narrow channels compress the outer edge, creating a raised rim. This step strengthens each blank while directing metal flow during striking. Proper rim formation is essential because it helps produce sharp lettering and complete design details. If upsetting pressure becomes inconsistent, unusual rims, incomplete borders, or irregular shapes may appear. Although uncommon, these pieces provide important evidence of production irregularities before the striking stage begins. The prepared planchets now enter the coining presses where the transformation into finished dimes takes place. Hardened dies descend with tremendous force, lasting only fractions of a second, transferring every design element into the softened metal. The striking pressure reaches many tons, creating remarkable detail, while producing thousands of coins every hour. Despite sophisticated engineering, the extreme forces involved gradually wear down equipment and occasionally produce valuable mint errors. One of the most sought-after categories is the doubled die variety. Unlike damage occurring after circulation, this error begins during die manufacturing. Slight misalignment. While creating the working die leaves doubled design elements permanently engraved into the die. Every coin struck from that die carries the same doubling. Collectors carefully inspect dates, lettering, and other fine details, searching for genuine examples because strong doubled dies remain highly desirable within the numismatic community. Die cracks develop after repeated use of the working dies. Every strike places enormous pressure upon hardened steel. Eventually, microscopic fractures appear, gradually expanding as production continues. These cracks transfer directly onto struck coins as raised lines, crossing portraits, lettering, or other design features. Early-stage cracks often remain subtle, while advanced examples become dramatic. Visual characteristics, documenting the gradual failure of mint tooling before replacement. Another important production error involves off-center strikes. During feeding, a planchet may fail to enter the striking chamber correctly. Instead of receiving a centered impression, only part of the design transfers onto the coin, while the remaining area remains blank. Collectors especially value examples displaying significant displacement, together with a fully visible date, because both the error and the coin can be identified easily. Broad strike errors occur when the retaining collar surrounding the planchet fails to engage correctly. Normally, the collar controls diameter while forming the edge. Without proper restraint, the metal spreads farther than intended, producing a wider coin, lacking normal edge characteristics. These pieces provide direct physical evidence of mechanical failure inside the striking press and remain popular among specialists studying mint production. Struck through. Errors originate when greasecloth fibers, metallic fragments, or other debris enter the striking chamber. Foreign material blocks portions of the design, preventing complete transfer onto the planchet. The resulting impressions differ greatly from one example to another, making every authentic struck-through dime effectively unique within the series. Die chips and retained cuds represent additional stages of die deterioration. Small fragments occasionally break away from working dies, producing raised metal lumps on finished coins. Larger retained cuds develop when more substantial portions fracture while remaining partially attached, creating dramatic raised areas on struck pieces. These advanced die failures remain highly collectible because they illustrate severe wear immediately before die replacement. Another fascinating production anomaly is the multiple strike error. If a coin fails to eject properly after its initial strike, it may receive one or more additional impressions, creating overlapping designs, distorted portraits, and unusual visual effects. Genuine multiple strike dimes are scarce because modern production equipment usually removes struck coins efficiently before another strike can occur. The 1978 dime represents an interesting period in American coin production. During the late 1970s, the United States Mint relied upon increasingly sophisticated automation while maintaining extremely high production volumes to satisfy nationwide demand. Although the design remained unchanged, The manufacturing technology supporting its production continued improving, allowing greater efficiency and consistency across millions of coins produced each year. Because enormous numbers of 1978 dimes entered circulation, most examples experienced decades of everyday use. Contact with other coins, commercial handling, and environmental exposure gradually reduced their quality. As a result, pristine, uncirculated examples preserving original luster and sharp strike characteristics became progressively scarcer over time. Professional grading plays a decisive role within today's collector market. Independent grading services evaluate every coin for strike quality luster, surface preservation contact marks, eye appeal, and overall originality. Higher certified grades represent increasingly limited surviving populations, leading to stronger competition among advanced collectors assembling top-quality sets. A typical circulated 1978 dime, without recognized varieties usually, remains worth face value. Attractive, uncirculated examples often sell for modest premiums depending upon overall quality. Certified high-grade pieces become considerably more valuable because relatively few survive with exceptional preservation. Error coins create an entirely separate market. Minor die cracks, die chips, or struck-through examples often sell for moderate premiums. Strong double dies, clipped planchets, broad strikes off center strikes, retained cuds, and multiple strike errors frequently command hundreds or several $1,000s, depending upon rarity, certification, visibility, and condition. Exceptional combinations featuring dramatic production errors together with elite mint state preservation generate the strongest collector demand. The reported figure of $131,000 represents the highest level of the collector marketplace, where extraordinary rarity, exceptional preservation, intense bidding competition, and remarkable production characteristics converge. Such values belong only to truly outstanding examples rather than ordinary circulation pieces, yet they demonstrate the extraordinary potential hidden within seemingly ordinary coinage. Every authentic 1978 dime, therefore, carries more than monetary value. It preserves the story of advanced industrial manufacturing, careful engineering, historical continuity, and the unpredictable reality that even the most sophisticated production systems occasionally create remarkable anomalies. Those rare moments frozen forever in metal continue inspiring collectors to examine forgotten collections, dealer inventories, inherited coin jars, and unopened rolls, because somewhere another overlooked 1978 dime may still preserve the tiny production detail capable of transforming an everyday 10-cent coin into a remarkable numismatic treasure. Inside the United States Mint, every second is controlled with remarkable precision. Sheets of metal move through massive industrial equipment, blanking presses operate. Continuously furnaces glow with carefully regulated heat, and striking presses deliver enormous force thousands of times every hour. Every finished 1966 dime begins as raw metal, passing through a sequence where engineering accuracy determines whether the final product becomes an ordinary circulation coin or an extraordinary collectible. Even the smallest mechanical irregularity can permanently alter a coin, and when those rare production mistakes survive quality control, they become some of the most fascinating pieces in modern numismatics, with exceptional examples associated with the 1966 dime reaching reported values as high as $119,000 when rarity preservation and collector demand combined production begins with carefully manufactured strips of coinage metal prepared to exact specifications. During 1966, the United States Mint had recently transitioned away from silver circulating dimes following the Coinage Act of 1965, replacing precious metal with a copper core, bonded between outer layers of copper, nickel. This technological change allowed the mint to meet growing demand while reducing dependence on silver supplies. Every strip entering production underwent inspection for thickness, hardness, bonding quality, and surface consistency because Uniform metal characteristics remained essential for successful striking. Once approved, the strips entered powerful blanking presses. Hardened steel punches removed perfectly round discs, called planchets, at remarkable speed. Every punch required exact alignment, because even slight positioning errors could create clipped planchets. If the punch overlapped the strip edge, part of the blank disappeared before striking began. These clipped planchets occasionally escaped inspection, becoming collectible errors that preserved direct evidence from the earliest stage of production. Fresh planchets then moved into annealing furnaces where carefully controlled temperatures softened the metal. Proper annealing allowed the alloy to flow completely into the engraved dies during striking. Without sufficient heat, the metal resisted deformation, producing weak details, incomplete lettering, and poor overall definition. After heating, the planchets cooled gradually before passing through cleaning systems that removed oxidation lubricants and manufacturing residue. Surface cleanliness remained critically important because contamination surviving this stage could later contribute to struck-through errors if debris entered the striking chamber. Following cleaning, each planchet entered the upsetting mill. Narrow channels compressed the outer edge, creating a raised rim that strengthened the blank, while directing metal toward the recessed portions of the die's proper rim formation ensured balanced metal flow across every design element. If upsetting pressure became inconsistent, incomplete rims, distorted borders, or irregular edges could appear, providing specialists with valuable evidence of production irregularities before striking occurred. Prepared planchets next entered the coining presses, where the transformation into finished dimes took place. Hardened steel dies struck each blank with tremendous force, lasting only milliseconds. During normal production, every movement, feeding alignment, striking, and ejection operated in perfect synchronization. Yet the tremendous stress imposed upon equipment eventually created opportunities for manufacturing anomalies now prized by collectors. Among the most respected production, varieties are doubled dies. Unlike ordinary damage, this error begins during die creation. Slight hub misalignment while producing the working die permanently engraves doubled details into the die itself. Every coin struck from that die repeats the same characteristics. Collectors carefully examine dates, lettering, liberty, and other fine details, searching for authentic doubled die examples, because these varieties represent genuine mint production differences rather than post-production damage. Another important category involves die cracks. Continuous striking gradually fatigues hardened steel, causing microscopic fractures to develop. These cracks transfer directly onto coins as raised lines crossing portraits, lettering, or other design elements. Small die cracks often carry modest premiums, while dramatic examples extending across major portions of the design attract much stronger collector interest because they document advanced stages of die deterioration before replacement. Off-center strikes occur when a planchet enters the striking chamber improperly positioned. Instead of receiving a centered design, only part of the coin is struck, leaving a blank crescent around one side, the greater the displacement while preserving recognizable design features, the more desirable the error becomes. Collectors particularly appreciate examples retaining a visible date because identification remains straightforward despite the dramatic appearance. Broad strike errors originate when the retaining collar surrounding the planchet fails during striking. Normally, the collar controls diameter while forming the edge. Without proper restraint, the metal expands farther than intended, producing a wider coin lacking standard edge characteristics. These unusual pieces provide direct evidence of collar malfunction inside the striking press. Struck-through errors result when grease cloth fibers, metallic fragments, or other foreign material become trapped between die and planchet. Portions of the design fail to transfer correctly, creating missing details, unusual impressions, or distinctive textures. Every struck-through error differs, making each surviving example unique within the series. Die chips and retained cuds represent later stages of die fatigue. Small fragments occasionally separate from working dies, producing raised metal lumps on finished coins. Larger retained cuds develop when more substantial portions fracture while remaining partially attached, creating dramatic raised formations. These advanced die failures remain highly collectible because production usually stops quickly once such damage appears. Another fascinating anomaly involves multiple strikes. If a struck coin fails to eject properly, it may remain within the striking chamber long enough to receive additional impressions, creating overlapping designs, distorted portraits, and dramatic visual effects. Genuine examples remain scarce because properly functioning production equipment normally ejects coins before another striking cycle begins. The 1966 dime occupies a particularly important place in United States coinage history because it belongs to the first full production period following removal of silver from circulating. Dimes Americans were adjusting to the appearance of clad coinage, while the mint worked tirelessly to replace disappearing silver coins with new issues capable of supporting everyday commerce. This period represented one of the most significant technological transitions in modern American minting, making surviving high-quality examples historically meaningful beyond their face value. Another unique characteristic of 1966 coinage is that regular circulating coins from this period did not carry mint marks because the mint temporarily suspended their use in an effort to discourage widespread collecting during the nationwide coin shortage. This unusual policy makes production quality and error varieties even more important to specialists studying coins from this era. Today, market values depend heavily upon condition rarity and production characteristics. Ordinary circulated 1966 dimes generally remain worth face value unless displaying recognized collectible features. Attractive, uncirculated examples preserving original mint luster often command meaningful premiums. Certified high-grade survivors become considerably scarcer because decades of circulation reduce the number of coins retaining flawless surfaces. Error coins occupy an entirely different segment of the collector marketplace. Minor die cracks, die chips, or struck-through examples frequently sell for modest premiums. Strong doubled, dies clipped planchets, broad strikes off-center strikes, retained cuds, and multiple strike errors often reach hundreds or several $1,000s depending upon rarity, visibility certification, and overall eye appeal. Coins combining major production errors with elite mint state preservation generate the strongest competition because both rarity and condition align within a single specimen. The reported figure of $119,000 represents the highest level of numismatic demand, where extraordinary preservation, remarkable rarity, historical importance, and intense bidding converge. Such prices belong only to exceptional examples rather than ordinary circulation coins. Yet they demonstrate the extraordinary potential hidden within one of the most important transitional issues in modern American coinage. Every authentic 1966 dime therefore preserves not only the story of advanced industrial manufacturing, but also the history of a nation adapting its coinage to changing economic realities while leaving behind rare production anomalies that continue inspiring collectors to search every collection, every bankroll, and every forgotten coin jar for the next remarkable discovery.